So, hello everyone. This is another graphics card modding video, and today I'm finally going to mod the RX 580 4GB that I got a while back, and I'm interested in overclocking it, and a fantastic opportunity came up because I've been invited to the HWBot Germany Team Cup meeting in Stuttgart at the end of August, which is the end of this week where I'm recording this right now. So you have a bit of a context when this was made and when it actually came out. It's probably going to come out at least a couple weeks after the meet, since I'm also quite busy with university, and the meet itself is probably going to also be another video in of itself. Anyway, so at the meet I am bringing not a lot of stuff. I'm traveling by train, so I can't bring that much stuff. Most of the stuff is going to be brought by ASIC, and we're gonna be benching together. And he specifically asked me to bring my E-powered 780 Ti Matrix, which already has a video about it if you want to know about that. And then also RX 580 or anything Polaris based is interesting for Team Cup, and I was also asked to bring a GTX 480, which I already have a modded one of, and then one unmodded one. So yeah, so these are the main things that we're bringing. So we're going to do graphics card benching in the things that are relevant for Team Cup. So this is one of them, and I wanted to mess with this one anyway because, you know, it's a random 4 gig RX 580. It's not really useful for anything. I do have an 8 gig 580, but that's on a PCB that needs a couple more mods because it's going to burn through some inductors it has. So yeah, and it also has some MOSFETs that are apparently not that great. So yeah, so I'm gonna be using this card, which admittedly also doesn't have a VRM that's particularly great. This is a 6-phase, so you know we got a decent phase count, but the MOSFETs on this are not that great, which is why it has this big heatsink on it, and this thing needs to be kept cool because it can burn through quite quickly. However, because this is a 6-phase RX 580, we have the IR3567B, the good old high-end VRM controller that has I2C. So we don't need to bother with any potentiometers or any stuff like that. We can just connect I2C over the Elmo Labs EVC and get complete control over this voltage controller. I'm not too sure what it also controls except V-Core, because this is a dual output controller, I think. Yeah, that might be a controller, or it might be a driver. I'm not too sure. Like, either memory or VDDCI is also controlled by that thing. So, yeah. And as for controlling this, well, you have this handy connector down here named J4001, which at least on the reference PCB is just the I2C hookup, and I'm assuming that this identically placed and named connector on this PCB does the same thing. So we're gonna solder some I2C wires to this, we're gonna solder some capacitors to this, because duh, I always do that. And this card might potentially need a PEX rail mod, which should be this down here. Well, it has to be this. Well, actually, I don't know. No, that's an input filtering inductor. That's 5 volts. Does this thing even have a 1.8 volts rail? I'm not too sure. I haven't modded that many AMD cards. I'm just the 6-phase V-Core, 1-phase VDDCI, 2-phase VMEM. That's probably PEX. That's input filtering. That's input filtering. That looks like a 5-volt LDO. Like, is there anything else left on this? That's probably RGB? You know, let's not stretch the video too much. So, I do want to mod this card because, well, we're gonna extreme overclock it. Like, this is getting LN2'd. For the first time in my life, I'm gonna be doing LN2. ASIC already has my LN2 pot, which he's bringing to the meet. So we're gonna have 2 LN2 pots. I'm bringing my B550 Unify X with my Ryzen 7 5800X, just X, and my high-bin B-die. And that's hopefully enough for the test bench. And yeah, so yeah, I'm not entirely sure about the PEX mod. It might need this. We are going to have solder equipment at the meet, so even if I don't do this today, we can fix it there if the card needs a PEX mod, if it like has problems when we cool it down. I can't really test it because my phase goes to like -50, -60 on a good day, and LN2 goes to like -180. So that's a quite bit colder, so I don't really know if this card needs a PEX mod, so yeah. And now we are. I've already rambled for 5 minutes and I haven't done anything yet. So, yeah. So we're gonna take one of these wires, I'm gonna cut it in half, solder one part on, then we have these connectors for the EVC. And I'm going to get my great big bag of capacitors and chuck as many of these as I can fit onto the card. And yeah, that's gonna be the modding. Insulation, I do have some insulation. Do have some kneaded eraser that I could put on here. Yeah, in all honesty, I'm not too sure if I have time for this. I could probably do it, wouldn't do it any hurt. Just like my other cards aren't insulated either, and so far it's always been fine. Yeah, we'll do this if I still have time left. Anyway, so let's start the entire thing. Let's start modding this thing, and yeah, let's see how this RX 580 turns out, and let's hope it still works at the end of everything. Before we continue, I'd like to thank my sponsor, PCBWay. If you are working on a project of your own that requires parts that would be hard to make yourself, or just generally parts at a much higher quality standard, you can go to PCBWay's website and order anything from PCB prototypes, assemblies, CNC parts, 3D printed parts, as well as stencils or even flexible circuit boards. The ordering process is simple. You just upload your files, tell them some stuff that you need, and you'll quickly receive a quote, which once accepted, will mean that your part can get shipped out within as fast as 24 hours. And if you have any questions or require further help, they even have a live chat service that stands ready for you. So if you need some custom-made project parts, don't delay, go to PCBWay today. Well, the first run of capacitors is soldered to the card. Not my best work ever. It's been quite some time since I soldered something, and I didn't really go into this with any plan. You can see I kinda tried to put them off the sides, but there's just not enough space between the capacitors, so they ended up kinda sticking up. And those, yeah, it's not the best, but it should still work. Like, my soldering iron is really strong, so the connection should be fine. Now I'm thinking about putting something behind the core. There's a bunch of multi-layer ceramics here. I could potentially piggyback on top of some of them, like these two, or perhaps that one. And also you see all of these unoccupied pads for SMD polymers for the memory chips. Now, I don't know if the Elpida chips on here scale up voltage, because I've never done anything like... this thing was completely unmodded before, and you don't get control over the memory voltage by default. But Elpida, like, they ended up being bought by Micron, and I know the Micron GDDR5 does scale with voltage, so I'm inferring that perhaps this does too. So, yeah, I'm gonna put more capacitors on here, so one for every empty pad here, and then perhaps I'm gonna see if I can do something for behind the core. I need to be careful with that one, because if I end up ripping something off, that can very easily kill the card if I rip out any traces or something like that. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to be careful with that. So first of all, let's find out which of these is the ground. So I do them the right way around. Oh wait, it's indicated, so this should be VMem. Yeah, that looks like VMem resistance, and then... Nice, so they do actually have a little plus, except this one. Oh no, it does have a plus right there, so this should be... Yep. And then this one, I guess the plus is under the washer. Huh? Come on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's put more capacitors on the card. You know, it can't hurt. I got like 750 of them. I gotta use them. Alright, so we have the capacitors for the memory chips, and I managed to put 3 more capacitors on the backside of the core. So for vCore that's a total of 10 capacitors, if I'm correct. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 for VDDCI, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the memory. So that should be a decent amount of capacitors. Total of 18 capacitors soldered to this thing. So yeah, that more than doubles the stock output filter, because the stock output filter is all 820 microfarads, and I also added all 820 microfarads. So yeah, we stock had 7 for vCore, 2 for VDDCI, 2 for VMem. So yeah, that's quite a lot of additional capacitance. Now, all that remains is attaching a water cooler to this thing, listening to the obnoxiously loud ambulance, and then turning it on, hoping it doesn't catch fire, hoping I got all the polarities correct, and then I guess overclock it a little bit, see what it does, and then... Yeah, actually no. First I'm gonna see if it works at all. Then I'll add the insulation for LN2, and then I'm gonna see what it overclocks to for a bit, if we still have time. And yeah, that shall be the plan. Oh, that looks good. Can't even tell that we modified the card from the front. And then you look at the back and like, yeah. Yeah. Alright, let's turn it on and see if it works or catches fire. Alright, so the card's in the system. And this is the moment of truth. So either it works, or I hear something pop, or see smoke or fire, and I will very quickly try to touch the emergency off. So, oh, no immediate fire. No leaks either in the water tubes. Okay, we've got a 98 postcode. So we should get an image, in theory. Do we? My monitor says there is no signal. Okay, maybe it's just the capture card. Where's my display port? I'll need a minute. Alright, hey ho guys, a little bit of a post-addendum. So, this card, as you've just seen, was having problems after modding it. And I got very confused because those problems were not at all related to anything that I modified. Like, really all I did was I soldered on a wire and added some capacitors. That doesn't do anything, like that shouldn't impact how the card works, it just makes it run smoother. So I got very confused to see that vCore and vMem no longer power up. I even checked the I2C bus, it remains powered off as well. Really the only thing I saw firing up on the card was the VDDCI VRM. Which is very weird. Because I didn't do anything to the IR3567B. Why is it, like, dead now? So, I was about to scrap the video and the card is falling over because I'm holding it with the tubes. I was about to scrap the video and just, give up on the card because I need to package up all my stuff. As you can see, the test bench is torn down. Like, this is all the water cooling stuff that I'm not bringing because it's too bulky. I'm just taking the motherboard, power supply, and some stuff like the SSDs. And so I was about to give up on the card. Like, I would still have brought it, but I would have just, like, asked the other people at the bench meet, just like, hey, do you know what to do about this? Or do we just, I don't know, do something? When I got the idea of, so let's just test my other RX 580. I have a known good card. It's even an 8 gig, but it's on a PCB that has input inductors that will burn through if you overvolt it. So it needs those replaced. And it also has MOSFETs that are not so great. So I can't just take that other card. It has to be this one. So I tested that other card on the test bench, and it got stuck. It wouldn't post. It got stuck on the exact same postcode as this card. And at that point I just went, hold up. Is this just AMD graphics cards being themselves again? Like, I'm on a B550 motherboard. It's all AMD. Like, it should work. But, I know better than to trust AMD hardware to be reliable. I've seen it enough times. It always messes up. So I got very confused for the second time. Why is my known good RX 580 just not working now and it getting stuck at the exact same postcode as this one that doesn't have its VRMs turned on? So after some fiddling around, I cleared the CMOS and magically the card now posted. And then I thought, okay, so let's say hypothetically, we ignore that the VRMs on this card are no longer turning on. Let's just try this card. And it posted. The card runs now. I have no idea why or what happened. The VRMs run now, the card posts, it goes into Windows. It's as if nothing was ever wrong with it. So now I'm confused for the third time. Well, actually, I'm not too confused. This is a Polaris card, which is like the jankiest of the AMD cards, which are all janky to begin with. So I should have expected this to happen, because Polaris always has issues. I've literally never had a Polaris card that didn't do something like this to me. But yeah, so the card works now. I have no idea what was wrong with it. So now would be the part where I go like, oh hey, let's test the card. But you see the state of the test bench. I already tore everything down to package it up and put it in my travel bags to take it to the bench meet. And well, I can't test the card now because it has a water cooler on it, and I don't want to take like the heat sinks off the VRM, so I can't put the stock air cooler on anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna take the card to the bench meet as is. We're gonna find out how it clocks there, and if it survives the bench meet, I can set all of this back up and test it then with water cooling, or perhaps the phase change. And I guess that'll be another video. It'll either be in the bench meet video, or it will be its own video. We'll see what happens. So yeah, sorry to disappoint you right now that we can't test the card right now. You know, I would have loved to tell you just how much all of this stuff does. And you know, I actually also kind of wanted to know like what you can all do with an IR3567B by I2C, because it's a kind of high-end controller. And did I have a EVC at 290X? Because those run off the same thing. No, 290X, 280X is CHA, 228G. Anyway, yeah, I can't run this now. Sorry, we'll do it later at some point, and you'll find out how it clocks. And that would be it for this video. Sorry, it got very, very unscripted. Once again, this seems to happen a lot. So, yeah. Now I need to record another clip for the travel vlog for the bench meet, so yay.